involves one of the strangest stories I've ever heard. This is a story that begins centuries ago, 1,000 miles up the Rio Negro, deep in the heart of the Brazilian Amazon. This is your territory.
Oh, yeah.
This involves an area that locals say is cursed. It's a land they say is so cursed that it actually infects its inhabitants. People turn violent there, they say. Animals are more dangerous and more aggressive than usual. It's a place that has literally been settled and abandoned over and over again, with people continuously being driven away.
I mean, there's tons about the rainforest that we still don't understand. Who's to say what's living out there?
Yeah, the Brazilian Navy even sailed at one point 1,000 miles up this river just to bomb this place. I want to show you a video. The story begins millennia ago, deep in the Amazon. Indigenous tribes along the Rio Negro pass down legends of powerful spirits that control the land. When the Portuguese arrive in the 16th century, they dispatch slaving expeditions to the region, violently murdering many of the inhabitants. Despite rumors that the site has become cursed, the Portuguese build a missionary outpost here in 1694, forcibly converting the natives to Christianity. Incidents of murder, torture, and deadly disease are common. But by the late 1800s, the settlement, now known as Arrao Velho, finds a new lease on life. A rubber boom draws hundreds of people, and the outpost is transformed into a wealthy town. But the rubber plantation's demand for labor results in genocide. 90% of the region's indigenous people are wiped out. After the rubber industry collapses in the early 20th century, the city is eventually abandoned, at least by the living. Today, travelers passing on the river claim to see ghostly apparitions and hear human screams from those who suffered here. Many believe malevolent forces even afflict the local wildlife, causing animals to be unnaturally aggressive. In the 1980s, the Brazilian Navy sends warships to use the jungle settlement for target practice and to erase all memory of this eerie frontier. But the ruins remain, and according to legend, so does something else. Jess, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like it's a cursed place.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think that people can be affected by their surroundings, both positive and negative. So when you come to a place like this that has so much negative history, so much death, it kind of like seeps into the air and the ground and the area and affects those that are there. So I think that these stories could be real.
And what about you, Phil? You've lived and worked in the Amazon. This is your stomping ground. Have you heard of this place?
I've not heard of this place, but listen, it is a forest full of the most bizarre creatures. There's carnivorous plants. There's ever-changing geology. So when I hear a story like this, I just think it has to do with the fact that the Amazon rainforest is really dangerous, and this is their way of interpreting it. For example, I went to one area that the locals said was inhabited by a devil, and what did I find there? Quicksand that was pulling people down.
Right.
So I think we're going to be able to find a logical explanation for it.
So then what makes this place so particularly dangerous?
It's a good point. All of the Amazon is dangerous, and yet all of these stories and legends are focused on this very specific place. What is it that makes this spot unique?
I don't know, and that's what we got to find out.
That's right. That's the mission. Step one, you've got to get there, right? Arrao Velho is not an easy place to reach. Once you're there, investigate, experience the sights and sounds, and see if you can collect evidence of what these people say is a cursed place.
Yeah, I'm in.
Let's do it.
To the Amazon. After traveling over 4,500 miles, the team